And welcome, everyone. Welcome to Why I Love It, the series where I talk about all the nostalgia trips of my years growing up. So, today, if you already couldn't tell by the title, we are, of course, talking about good old Independence Day, which I actually have on screen right now. So, yes, what is there to really say about this movie? Well, other than that, probably is literally probably the greatest film ever made, and it's classic 90s cheese and perfect for all of our classic American patriotism. So yeah, it's good. So yeah, this film was released on 4th of July weekend, 1996, and of course, beforehand, even months before, there was a massive Super Bowl promotion for it, and everyone was hyped about it. Especially the trailers got everyone excited. So much so, this movie even got a Oscar for won an Oscar for visual effects, and even more so, there was even like a special on Fox before the movie came out. And of course, I think there was a little advertisement for that laptop that David Levinson uses in the movie, the Apple PowerBook 5300. But it's kind of ironic that that thing was discontinued after a month after the movie came out. And man, it's crazy that there was like it was all because of like battery fires and whatnot. So yeah. But yeah, the film stars Will Smith as Marine Corps pilot, Captain Stephen Hiller, Jeff Goldblum as MIT trained cable technician David Levison, along with Bill Pullman as President Thomas J. Whitmore, Robert Loggia as General William Gray, and Vivica A. Fox as Stephen Hiller's girlfriend, Jasmine. And also we have Ross Bailey as Dylan, who is basically her son. And if you don't know who he is, he also played Buckwheat in the 1997 adaptation of The Little Rascals. So that's the only other film he's been in. But yeah, this movie is a very star-studded cast. Even you have other characters like Harry Connick Jr. as his wingman, as Stephen Hiller's wingman, Jimmy Wilder. You also have Mary McDonnell, who would go on to be President Roslin in Battlestar Galactica, playing the First Lady. And you also have Brett Spiner as Dr. Brackish Oaken, the Area 51 head scientist researching the aliens' technology. So yes, as it happens in the movie, 1996 is happening. On July 2nd, a massive alien spacecraft shows up and creeps into Earth's orbit. SETI discovers it and assumes that wow, we finally stumbled on alien life. And yes, we have. But also the fact of the matter is that the object was so massive it started causing rumblings on the moon, and they didn't detect it until they reached the moon. But I don't really know. I mean, all of our eyes and all of our earthbound stations are all fixed on space. So I'm pretty sure we would have detected the spacecraft before it even entered the solar system, most likely. Or basically, we probably would have saw it sooner if it was probably near the outer planets of somewhere, like probably say Jupiter. We probably would have detected it. But I mean, it's our signal. But I mean, I'm not sure though. I know as signals go out from Earth, I mean, mostly they'll just fall into like white noise. But we probably really would have seen them coming a lot sooner than what we did in the movie. But yeah, the object stops in Earth's orbit, and they obviously, with the image you see here, they deploy 15-mile wide city destroyers. And of course, after 7 hours, they are going to conduct a massive countdown and annihilate multiple cities across the Earth's surface. There are exactly 36 ships in total of their fleet. But of course, I know as the governments of the world were trying to appeal for calm, David Levinson, played by Jeff Goldblum, discovers that the aliens are transmitting a signal in Earth satellites, and not only that, that signal is also disrupting our cable communications. Why you see all those weird static things on televisions. So yeah, he discovers it and tries to get in contact with his wife, Constance Spano, who is the White House communications director. But of course, while he's doing that, of course, everyone at David's like TV cable company, and his boss is kind of like obviously kind of manic about trying to figure out the problem, who is played by Harvey Feinstein. But of course, like, again, he's trying to ignore the idea. But before that, he was basically hanging around his father, Julius Levinson, played by Judd Hirsch, and of course, again, he's a Jewish man. And I can't get him anyways. Yeah, he maybe seem like a bit of a stereotype, but yeah, he's doing all the things he can do, just trying to do that because he has, as of like the last 3 years, been divorced from Constance. So yeah, but once he comes into contact with her, he's like, yeah, David, you're just being paranoid. No, Connie, I'm being serious. They're going to attack. And then she just hangs up on him because, of course, yeah. Even then, even when he convinces his dad to take him down to drive him down to Washington, because of course he's a very eco-friendly fellow, and not to mention the fact that he kind of gets onto his boss about the fact that, yeah, hey, why are you not putting these coke cans in the recycling? So yeah, environmentally conscious guy. But yeah, just like, going over to the going down to the White House and just screaming about, hey, the aliens are going to attack us. Like, I already know that the military are on top of the idea, and they're still trying to think that, yeah, the aliens are going to, if they have the power to travel between the stars, maybe they might have evolved beyond the idea of malicious intent, at least at first. But they still is always that margin of rumor thinking that, yeah, the aliens might be hostile. I mean, even like, of course, General Gray kind of expresses that a little bit. And yeah, once they start tracking all the ships coming into the Earth's atmosphere, they obviously know they're moving toward a lot of cities, especially the ones toward in the U.S., New York, D.C., L.A. And the effects of when they're going through the atmosphere, they actually did it with a combination of like water and dirt and just like roughing it around and just playing it in reverse. So they actually use a lot of practical effects in this movie. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. Even then, a lot of the stuff you had a lot of models and whatnot. So that's pretty much how it's really going though. And I mean, this is like I said, it gained this movie won an Oscar for visual effects, and it is some extreme in very insanely practical effects you're really going to see. It's crazily good, and it still holds up almost 30 years later. And yeah, again, this movie is probably the start of what we would see of the so-called summer blockbuster films. And yes, I mean, now we're still seeing this sort of trend nowadays, but given now, instead of it being action movies, relatively, it's usually superhero films we're seeing this of. But I mean, if Top Gun was anything to go by, what we've seen for summer box office this year, so yeah, that kind of thing is coming back a little bit. And we don't need all that woke stuff to go about it and whatnot. But moving back to the story, it's real. It's still like, again, they go up to the White House, and I know there are a few deleted, there are like a few extended scenes, because the scene you're seeing, I actually have the DVD here that is actually the 2004 special edition with all the extended scenes from the film. Like the one scene in the film where David is being brought inside the alien attacker that crash landed in Roswell. Oaken tells him that we don't really know. We've been researching this stuff for like the last 15. We've been researching it for the last 40 years, and I've been only working on it for 15. David also basically says that the sort of binary on the screen inside of it is actually just the alien binary that they're using to coordinate all of their operations and communications. But the problem is that the aliens are like I said, they're using our satellites to coordinate all their operations and their attacks. But it makes you wonder if these aliens are so advanced and they can travel between star systems, wouldn't you think that they would have their own equipment to coordinate that kind of stuff, like their own satellites they would have to deploy? Just I don't know, maybe, but I guess maybe they think they're just slightly primitive in many ways, given how the aliens' biology is somewhat biomechanical in a way. But yeah, we already know that they go in there, they're trying to get they're hovering above the cities, and eventually they do countdown attack. And one other thing is, before all this happens, Hitler is asked to come in and possibly be on a high alert in case the aliens do attack. And of course, there's a small subplot with him wanting to be a NASA pilot and wanting to fly the space shuttle. But of course, they think because he's dating a stripper, they think that it might cause some sort of psychological imbalance or something. I don't know. It doesn't make a whole lick of sense at all. But I don't really know what the whole deal with that is. But the other thing is, yeah, they're called in, and everything is, and David also moving back to what David was trying to say about the whole thing with the coordinating of the spaceships. The idea is that he goes in the whole thing that the Earth's curvature is preventing direct line of sight communication. But of course, he only gives them a few minutes of warning, and of course, the military is trying to conduct contact with them. But of course, the response is the aliens open up the side panel, which is what you see on the side, what you probably see right there, which is where all their attack fighter crafts are. It's really the whole obvious response is go screw yourself, essentially, because we already know once they actually when Hitler actually manages to bring down one of the alien attackers with a canyon chase. It's obviously something that's gonna go. He obviously crashes right through the side of the mountain, and he obviously knocks the damn alien out. So, but then we already know that this only happens after the aliens pretty much annihilate all the cities. And of course, like a friend of Jasmine's who works for the strip club, yeah, she thinks that, this is so cool with the alien showing up. And she actually wants to attend a party celebrating the aliens on top of the rooftops in downtown LA. But she tells her, yeah, I got a bad feeling about this. You probably shouldn't go. And he's like, oh, come on. Why don't you come with me? It's like, no, I'm out. I'm leaving town for a few days. And of course, being the dumb idiot she is, she basically goes there anyway. And obviously, she's one of the very first casualties of the so-called War of 1996, which is what the sequel refers to it as now. Which, again, here we're not talking about that movie. So yeah, the aliens blow up all the cities. Millions of people around the world are obviously been killed, and of course the militaries of the world go into and try to organize a counterattack, which Hitler is a part of it, to try to send in. Okay, sorry about that. Hitler tries to send in, of course. Once they try to fire upon it, of course. Yeah, the aliens have their powerful energy shields, but we already know what happens later on. Eventually, they're gonna find a way around it, but for now, it's not gonna go as well. No matter what we do, firing missiles at it, hell, even nuking the damn thing, it wasn't gonna work. So we already know that these shields are insanely powerful. Because I mean, if you're traveling between star systems, yeah. you already know if you're basically flying, anything smaller than a speck of dust can impact a lot of energy to your craft. So having shielding is a good possibility, or possibly they have some type of metallurgy that's beyond our understand. That's beyond anything of our Earth understanding. But given what we see when they're fighting back against them, it seems like both the attackers and our own fighters are more evenly matched. But I am gonna say one thing here. Let me see if I can find. Let me see if I can find that photo. Okay, give me 1 second. I absolutely love the design. Absolutely love the design of this thing. It is amazingly sleek. I mean, yeah, now I can easily buy that this is an alien fighter. It's pretty damn cool. And even then, they make these kind of daring escapes here with this. And yeah, as maneuverable those things are, they couldn't just easily just turned around. They just ram right in the wall. But I guess if you're a human pilot, yeah, you know how to do it. But the aliens just gotta run to the wall like idiots. But yeah, it's a very solid and well made design. But also another thing that we see. But of course, that's the thing. Their maneuverability is crazy, and of course, once we're going up against these things. Yeah, they get decimated, and even these crafts have shields on them too. So again, it's a literal bloodbath against the human pilots that are sent against them. But even more so, Hitler is probably very, very resourceful in taking out. The damn thing went right through the side of a mountain, through the wall of a cannon. It was crazy that thing is durable enough to withstand that. But they beat it. But they absolutely beat it. He beats it, knocks the alien out. They try to once they take him to Area 51. We have that character. We have Dr. Oaken trying to dissect it, and of course, it wakes up back up, and it uses its telepathy to talk through him and simply saying, "Let me out of here." And of course, Whitmore tries to negotiate with it, and it says, "No, you all must die." And of course, he gives him a telepathic hit, and that's where he says, "Yeah, let's just nuke him now." Which again, we already know it's not going to work. But in other characters, I've already said it. They already have the First Lady, but also we have another pretty underrated character of the film, and that is Randy Quaid's character, Russell Case. Now, of course, he's a deadbeat alcoholic father, and of course, he's a crop duster, former Vietnam pilot, and he claims that he actually was abducted by the aliens years ago. But I mean, it makes you wonder. But once like Hitler comes into contact with them in the salt flats, you would think that if he actually showed them the alien, it would be interesting if there was like a little small scene like saying like, "Yep, that's one of them, all right." But it's like he even tells them that it's like that's not entirely what they look like. It's just like it's like a biological suit they wear or something like that. So I mean, if he had any insight, don't you? It makes you think that because given what we see in the sequel, again, I know. Okay, I'm kind of breaking my rule here with the sequel. They kind of, but I guess maybe if you've been actually if you actually had any telepathic contact with aliens, you apparently will actually signal them, which is what happens with Whitmore and Oaken. But again, I think maybe because he actually might have, because it shows that he actually had a lot of um a look of familiarity and fear in him with all of that. But again, his kids don't believe him. Of course, people who are friends with his don't believe him, and then I mean everyone's just kind of like, and that's probably why he just turned to drinking to cope with all that trauma and whatnot. But ultimately, he does get his revenge and ends up actually suicide bombing the alien's hammer weapon right as soon as they're about to attack Area 51. And ironically enough, I think that ship was actually supposed to be heading toward Las Vegas, and I think even in the sequel they do say that city destroy actually ended up crashing into and destroying Las Vegas in the process. But that's kind of how it is though. But overall, great. This movie has great practical effects, amazing special effects, and it's just, again, it holds up so perfectly well after almost 20 years. And yes, this movie truly is amazing. And even then, you're gonna see we're gonna see here the destructive capability of this weapon. Feast your eyes, and boom. And again, it's also amazing how they also did all these effects practically too. They just turned the camera upward and then just shot the fire upward at it. So all of that is amazing. Right there is the man who was the special effects guy right there in that little small cameo there. But yeah, this movie truly is a great film, and since it's 4th of July, it's a must see in my book. So furthermore, and always, this movie is without a doubt
excellent.
So yeah, that's my review of it, guys. So if you want me, so again, I really appreciate anyone tuning in, watching. So like and subscribe to my video, share it out, and again, follow my other social links. I'm on Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitch, and I will always occasionally try to do everything I can on all those platforms. And always, please, always try to leave comments. I like to have more engagement with everyone in my comment section. It'd be interesting to see what everyone has to say, always. And with that being said, everyone, thank you all for tuning in. Happy 4th of July, and may God and the Force be with you. See you next time.